Is traveling after 70 still a good idea? Have you ever dreamed of packing your bags, getting on a plane, and exploring the world during your golden years? For many Americans over 65, retirement feels like the perfect time to travel. Finally free from work and family responsibilities, with the time and savings to enjoy life. But while the idea of travel can be exciting, there are hidden dangers that become more serious as we age. After 70, our bodies and minds go through changes that most travel brochures don't talk about. A simple flight can trigger a health emergency. A charming cobblestone street could turn into a fall hazard. And something as routine as eating a meal abroad could send you to the hospital. The truth is, travel isn't what it used to be. And not because of the destinations, but because our needs have changed. This doesn't mean you should stay home forever. Far from it. But it does mean you need to prepare differently. In this video, we'll explore 5 often overlooked risks of traveling after 70. Risks that can drain your health, finances, and peace of mind if you're not careful. So whether you're planning a road trip across the US or a cruise through the Caribbean, stay with me. The last point on our list might surprise you and could save you more than just money. Because when it comes to travel in your 70s and beyond, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Let's take a closer look at what every senior traveler should know before booking that next flight. 124 increased health risks and medical emergencies. When you're over 70, even a well-planned vacation can take a sudden turn if your health isn't on your side. One of the most critical, but often underestimated dangers of traveling later in life is the heightened risk of unexpected medical emergencies. At this age, our bodies are simply not as resilient as they used to be. Chronic conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, arthritis, or COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, can flare up without warning, especially in unfamiliar environments. Something as routine as climbing stairs or walking longer distances than usual can lead to shortness of breath or chest pain. And if you're far from your regular doctor or hospital, even a minor issue can escalate into a major crisis. Let's talk about long flights. Sitting still for several hours, especially more than 4 to 5, can increase the risk of deep vein thrombosis, DVT, a serious condition where blood clots form in the legs. If those clots travel to your lungs, they can become life-threatening. Add to that the dehydration caused by dry cabin air and the stress of navigating airports, and you've got a recipe for physical strain that your body may struggle to recover from. Altitude and climate changes also play a role. For someone with respiratory issues or heart conditions, higher elevations or humid tropical regions can make it harder to breathe and put additional stress on the heart. Even the excitement of traveling can elevate blood pressure. Take the story of James, a 74-year-old retired engineer from Ohio. He and his wife booked a 2-week cruise, thinking it would be a calm and leisurely way to explore the Mediterranean. But on day 4, James experienced severe chest pain. The ship's medical team did their best, but he needed hospital care, urgently. The problem? They were in the middle of the sea. It took several hours to reach the nearest port and transport him to a hospital. Thankfully, James recovered, but the delay could have cost him his life. And what about insurance? Many seniors assume Medicare or their health plan will cover care overseas. Unfortunately, that's rarely the case. Most US-based health insurance plans don't include international coverage. If you're hospitalized abroad or need emergency evacuation, you could be looking at out-of-pocket expenses that run into the tens of thousands of dollars. So what can you do to protect yourself? Start with a full health checkup before you travel. Discuss your destination, travel length, and activity plans with your doctor. Carry all essential medications in your carry-on and bring extra in case of delays. Know the location of nearby hospitals at your destination and check whether they speak English or have international patient services. And most importantly, don't travel without comprehensive travel insurance that covers emergency care, hospital stays, medical evacuation, and trip interruption. It might feel like an extra step, but it could be the one that saves your life or your savings. Because after 70, travel should still be possible, but never at the cost of your health. 2. Increased exposure to infections and contaminants. For many seniors, one of the most unexpected travel challenges isn't what's on the itinerary, it's what's invisible. When you're over 70, your immune system isn't as strong as it used to be. That means exposure to germs, viruses, and unfamiliar bacteria while traveling can lead to more serious consequences than for younger travelers. Think about it. Crowded airports, tight airplane cabins, public transportation, shared hotel spaces, all are hotspots for bacteria and viruses. For a healthy 30-year-old, catching a mild cold on vacation might just be a minor inconvenience. But for someone over 70, even a seemingly simple respiratory infection can spiral into pneumonia, bronchitis, or a hospital stay. Airplanes in particular are breeding grounds for germs. Passengers are seated close together, often for hours at a time, breathing in recycled air. Studies have shown that viruses like the flu can spread easily within a few rows. Add to that high-touch surfaces, seat belts, tray tables, bathroom door handles that are rarely sanitized between flights, and the risk becomes even higher. Then there's the issue of food and water. When traveling to a different country, or even a different region of the US, you may encounter unfamiliar ingredients, preparation methods, or sanitation standards. Tap water that's safe for locals can cause stomach issues for visitors. Raw vegetables, undercooked meats, or street food might be tempting, but they can also be risky. Take the case of Elaine, a 77-year-old widow from Arizona. On her first trip abroad, she ate a fresh salad at a charming cafe in a small European town. What she didn't know was that the lettuce had been rinsed in unfiltered tap water. Within hours, she was experiencing nausea, stomach cramps, and dehydration. She spent 2 days recovering in her hotel room, missing half her sightseeing plans, and returned home several pounds lighter and far more cautious. Public restrooms and hotel rooms also carry hidden threats. While they may appear clean, germs linger on doorknobs, light switches, remote controls, and bedspreads. If you rely on a walker or cane, you're likely touching even more surfaces throughout the day, each one a potential contact point for illness. So how can you reduce the risk? First, travel with hand sanitizer and use it often, especially before eating or after touching shared surfaces. Carry antibacterial wipes and clean airplane armrests and tray tables. Wear a mask in crowded indoor settings, especially during flu season. Avoid raw or undercooked foods and only drink bottled or filtered water when traveling abroad. Talk to your doctor before your trip about any recommended vaccines, like the flu shot, pneumonia vaccine, or travel-specific immunizations, depending on your destination. And remember, the goal of travel is to feel renewed, not run down. Staying vigilant about hygiene and food safety is one of the best ways to ensure your adventures are filled with joy, not doctor visits. 3. Travel, fatigue, and recovery challenges. There's something magical about packing a suitcase and heading off to explore new places. But for adults over 65, the physical demands of travel can quickly turn excitement into exhaustion, and recovery often takes longer than expected. In your younger years, a red-eye flight, a busy sightseeing schedule, or a missed night of sleep could be brushed off with a cup of coffee and a quick nap. But as we age, the body's ability to bounce back slows down. Fatigue becomes more than just tiredness. It can impact your immune system, balance, alertness, and even your mood. Let's start with long travel days. Whether it's an early morning airport run or a multi-hour layover, travel often involves disrupted sleep, extended sitting, and irregular meal times. For seniors, these disruptions can throw off your body's internal rhythm and make it harder to recover. Jet lag, in particular, can linger for days, and sleep deprivation isn't just uncomfortable. It can increase the risk of confusion, falls, and even heart issues. Then there's the physical strain. Sitting in a cramped plane seat for hours can lead to stiff joints, swollen legs, and back pain. Walking long distances through terminals, navigating stairs or uneven ground, and lifting luggage can all put extra stress on joints and muscles, especially for those with arthritis or mobility limitations. Consider the story of Richard, a 75-year-old retiree from Minnesota. He and his wife planned a dream vacation to Italy, packed with sightseeing tours and back-to-back excursions. But after a 10-hour flight and adjusting to a 6-hour time difference, Richard felt wiped out before the trip had really begun. By the third day, he was too tired to enjoy the tours and needed constant breaks. By the time his body had adjusted, the vacation was nearly over, and he spent the following 2 weeks back home recovering from the trip instead of reminiscing about it. Another common issue during travel is hydration and nutrition. Busy travel days often lead people to skip meals, rely on fast food, or forget to drink enough water. Dehydration can contribute to dizziness, confusion, and extreme fatigue, especially in older adults. And unfamiliar foods may cause digestive trouble, further compounding the feeling of weakness and discomfort. So how can you travel smarter, not harder? Plan your schedule with rest in mind. Avoid stacking activities back to back, and give yourself downtime between excursions. Choose accommodations that offer quiet, comfortable sleep environments. Pack healthy snacks, stay well hydrated, and avoid alcohol during flights. If possible, break long journeys into shorter legs with layovers that allow you to stretch and move around. Most importantly, listen to your body. If you need a nap, take it. If you feel overextended, scale back. The goal of travel in your golden years isn't to squeeze everything in. It's to savor each moment with energy and comfort. Because a great trip should leave you with memories to cherish, not a weeks of recovery. 4. Higher risk of falls and injuries. One of the most serious and often underestimated dangers of traveling after age 70 is the increased risk of falls and physical injuries. As we grow older, our bodies naturally become less agile. Reflexes slow down, balance can be affected, and bones become more fragile. When you combine those factors with unfamiliar environments, the risk of a fall becomes very real. At home, many older adults have adapted their living spaces to be safer. Grab bars in the bathroom, nightlights in the hallway, rugs that don't slide. But when you're traveling, those comforts disappear. Hotels, cruise ships, and historic attractions may have narrow staircases, slick floors, uneven surfaces, or poor lighting. Even just stepping off a tour bus or navigating a crowded sidewalk can be risky. Travel fatigue adds to the danger. When you're tired, your reaction time slows, your coordination suffers, and your attention may waver, making stumbles more likely. Add in bulky luggage, unfamiliar terrain, and possibly rushing to catch a connection, and it becomes a perfect storm for an accident. Let's take the example of Linda, a 78-year-old from North Carolina who had always dreamed of visiting Italy. She was in good health and walked daily in her neighborhood. But during her trip, the cobblestone streets of Florence and steep alleyways in Rome proved more challenging than expected. One evening, while stepping off a curb in dim light, she lost her balance and fell, breaking her hip. She needed surgery and spent the rest of the trip in a hospital bed instead of exploring the sights. The recovery lasted months and her mobility never fully returned to what it was. Unfortunately, these stories are more common than we like to think. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, over 36 million older adults in the U.S. experience a fall each year. And falls are the leading cause of injury-related hospital visits for seniors. So, what can be done to minimize the risk? Start by choosing your destination wisely. Look for places with flat terrain, accessible sidewalks, and modern infrastructure. Avoid areas known for steep hills, poor lighting, or historic sites that haven't been retrofitted for accessibility. Book ground floor accommodations or hotels with elevators. When sightseeing, pace yourself. Don't feel pressure to keep up with younger travelers or group tours. Footwear matters too. Skip the sandals or dress shoes and pack comfortable, non-slip walking shoes with good ankle support. If you use a cane, walker, or trekking pole at home, be sure to bring it with you. And remember, falls don't just result in physical injury, they can also lead to long-term loss of independence. It's always better to take one extra moment to steady yourself than risk weeks or months of painful recovery. Traveling can still be joyful and rewarding after 70, but only when it's done with care, caution, and a clear understanding of your body's changing needs. 5. Financial risks, insurance gaps, trip cancellations, and scams. For many seniors, retirement opens the door to long-awaited adventures. But along with the excitement of travel comes a set of financial risks that can catch even the most careful traveler off guard. And unfortunately, after age 70, the stakes are higher, because the wrong kind of mistake doesn't just cost money, it can drain your savings and peace of mind. Let's start with a common misconception, that your regular health insurance will cover you wherever you go. The truth is, most Medicare plans don't provide coverage outside the US, and even supplemental plans may have strict limitations. That means if you fall ill or have an accident in another country, or even while cruising in international waters, you could be responsible for tens of thousands of dollars in medical bills. Emergency evacuations by air ambulance alone can range from $25,000 to over $100,000 depending on your location. Trip cancellations are another overlooked hazard. Life after 70 is more unpredictable. A last-minute health issue, a family emergency, or even a change in mobility could force you to cancel your plans. Yet many airlines, cruise lines, and tour operators have strict no-refund policies. Without proper trip insurance, you risk losing thousands of dollars in non-refundable deposits, plane tickets, or pre-booked excursions. Then there's the unfortunate reality of travel scams, something scammers specifically target older travelers with. Fake vacation packages, non-existent hotels, inflated cab fares, and card-skimming ATMs are just a few examples of how unsuspecting seniors can be taken advantage of. These fraudsters often look for signs of unfamiliarity, like struggling with a foreign language, relying on cash, or hesitating during a transaction. Take the example of George, a 76-year-old from Michigan who had always been frugal and financially smart. He booked a vacation to the Caribbean through what appeared to be a legitimate online agency. But when he arrived, the hotel didn't exist. He had fallen victim to a travel scam, lost over $3,000, and had to pay double to find a last-minute replacement accommodation. So how can seniors protect themselves from financial pitfalls while traveling? First, never assume your domestic health insurance covers you abroad. Before your trip, speak with your provider and, if necessary, purchase comprehensive travel insurance that includes international medical coverage, emergency evacuation, and trip interruption protection. It might add to your upfront costs, but it can save you from massive bills in an emergency. Second, when booking travel, stick with reputable companies. Read reviews, verify listings, and avoid offers that seem too good to be true. If you're unsure, ask a trusted friend or family member to double-check the source. Lastly, be cautious with your money while traveling. Use credit cards instead of carrying large amounts of cash, and consider cards with fraud protection. Be aware of your surroundings, guard your PIN at ATMs, and never give personal information to strangers, even if they seem helpful. Traveling after 70 can be wonderful, but only when it's safe, not just physically, but financially too. Travel wisely, live fully. Traveling after 70 can still be a deeply rewarding experience, but it's not without real risks, from unexpected health emergencies and lingering fatigue, to increased vulnerability to infections, injuries, and financial loss. These aren't just minor inconveniences. For older adults, they can change the course of a trip, or even your long-term well-being. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up on travel entirely. You just have to approach it differently. Smart, safe travel starts with preparation. That means talking with your doctor before you go, choosing destinations that support your comfort and safety, and making sure you're properly insured. It means planning for rest, eating well, staying hydrated, and listening to your body. Not pushing through fatigue just to stick to a packed itinerary. It also means being cautious with your finances and aware of common scams targeting older travelers. In today's world, a little skepticism and research can go a long way in protecting both your wallet and your peace of mind. Most importantly, it's about traveling with intention. At this stage in life, the purpose of a trip isn't to rush or prove anything. It's to enjoy, to explore at your own pace, and to return home feeling enriched, not worn out. So before you book your next journey, pause and ask, is this trip aligned with my current needs, energy, and health? When you travel with awareness and wisdom, you don't just stay safe, you make room for the kind of memories that truly last. Because after all, the best journeys aren't the ones that take you the farthest. They're the ones that bring you the most peace.